From what you've listed now, it would seem that this is not just a job for the Ministry of Environment. It has to coordinate with a host of other ministries,
yes.
And even across state governments. It has to be able to reach out to them, because if something happens in Kogi now, it's not only Kogi that's going to be affected, it's going to be affecting a host of areas. Have you seen this will to coordinate from the department, from the Ministry of Environment?
Well, the ministry will come up with their budget, and they will go to the same legislator. And I'm happy that you brought Senator Bukola Saraki. I want to remind him, in 2007, I told him, I said, I've worked with him. I said, Oga, I am from Ilorin. You are our governor. He is my senator. I said, Asa River divides Ilorin into two. You are the Governors Forum chairman. While our Minister of Environment is from Ilorin. This is how the politics is being played. If any legislator, any senator can go and lobby for project to come to a state. There's nothing wrong in that. That's why you are there. And I was so surprised with his proactiveness that day. And he said, my brother, I know about the history of that river. Every year is over flooding and it kills thousands of people.
So
he has people in mind.
The problem has been sorted out with that particular river?
No. Up till now. 5 years. It took 5 years. Just 2 months ago, the Federal Executive Council now approved it. Whom do you blame? The Ministry of Environment came up with planning within that same 1 year. Senator Bukola Saraki got approval from the former President, Yaradua, late Yaradua, who used to appropriate funding for it. So we have to wait for 5 years. So perennial flooding has occurred 5 years on that same river up till now. The river is still going to overflow any moment from now, because this is seasonal.
So, sorry, Mark, you talked about the states which the River Niger runs through, and you mentioned Anambra, and I'm quite sure it's also around Delta, parts of Delta, around the Asaba area. Yeah. So the way it is now, and they say the water is still rising, are we likely to see some kind of upsurge in those states yet to experience this flooding?
I think what we just need to do is we should prepare for emergency management, serious emergency management, relocate people away from that area for now. And that is what the step they have taken. Now, it's not about I'm donating 100 million, I'm getting this. No. First of all, identify that floodplain area, remove people away from there, give them their daily needs now, water, food, stuff, clothes, and this, at least to palliative measure for them. Now, you now come up with serious 10-year strategic planning of flood management, which include, 1, those who build their houses on floodplain area, identify them, mark them, and demolish them.
Oh, we have been told that I'm sorry to cut you there. We've been told that the flood has even passed the floodplains. It's not just the floodplains alone that have been affected.
What we always look for is through gravity, the lowest level.
So should we be looking for those even past the floodplains of the river?
You see, we have the floodplain master plan. They have the map, because the river passes through some courses, and Ministry of Water Resources, Ministry of Environment, they've identified all those areas. They should not allow people to build or develop structures or infrastructure facility along that area any longer. Like the Lokoja highway that was seriously blocked now. Similar flood like this happens in Shanghai, which I saw. Do you know what they did? Within few hours that this water couldn't leave the road, they came out with this moving, they call it moving pump station. And it was pumping at a rate of 5,000 cubic meters an hour. They don't have to wait for nature before that water could move away from the road. And they look for the lowest gradient, and they pipe about maybe 100 meters or 200 meters, and they were pumping the water seriously. These are the kind of emergency relief measure, technical measure I was expecting to see on Lokoja Highway. Not FRSC to now say it's diverting people to pass through another area. Do you know the manpower and the economic loss we're having?
Do you work with Ministry of Planning? Do they have any role to play here?
Economic planning.
National Planning.
National Planning Commission, they have role to play with all agencies of government and ministry. It is Ministry of Environment I consult for, and they will consult us on projects.
Okay. Does that ministry have any coordinating office? I mean, how do they coordinate?
They have research and planning department.
Is it functional?
Yeah, of course, it's functioning, but there are no budget for the department to function.
So budget is also key.
It's key.
You know, we talked about coordination, and the first thing that popped out again was the budget. I mean, even with what you have in terms of what has been approved for a particular ministry, you would think that there are certain projects that can be prioritized in such a way that it would have, it can be maximized across ministries. For instance, now we're saying that the Ministry of not just the environment, of water and also of works, were invited to go and see what can be done about the floods in Kogi. Do you see that kind of coordination amongst the ministries even before this kind of disaster happened?
I'm happy they realize that the disaster that happened now is not the problem of Ministry of Environment alone, because it is within, until we realize that all the infrastructural facilities we are spending billions of naira to develop, within 1 second or 2 seconds of environmental disaster, it will wipe out. So we need to now take precautionary measure. And we cannot have that natural disaster not to happen. Nobody can stop rain not to happen. And nobody can stop river not to move with this torrent velocity.
Let's talk about enlightenment.
Yeah.
How much do you think that, I mean, you live with people, you live amongst people, how much do you think that people know about the environment?
I was impressed with Lagos State government during the last storm problem of Kuramu. I was in my car and the traffic radio was beaming it within seconds, every 2 minutes, that people living on the island, Kuramu axis, please, NEMA or Lasema is coming, they're on their way, relocate, we are going to have a serious storm, it may affect, and we have less casualty. If that information was not passed as at that time, I can imagine what will have happened to that disaster that happened that time. Yes, enlightenment. I give credit to, I think I give credit to Lagos State Ministry of Environment and other agencies for that. But now, since then, what have they done?
But on a federal level, I mean, that's what we're looking at.
Federal level, well, federal level, the only thing I heard was NEMA and NIMET warning us of recent that we should be expecting heavy rainfall.
Well, whose job is it to let the people know? I mean,
Ministry of Information, National Orientation Agency. These are then NTA, yourself. And this is what you are doing. This is part of it.
All right, come down to specifics now.
Yeah.
Because till November, these rains will be coming.
Yes.
As NIMET has said.
Yeah.
What specifically should the government and us be doing about it?
I know they've started by setting up committee made up of 3 ministers or 4 ministers. That is where what we will first air. And well, that's where policy starts. Now, what I expect them to do now, immediate solution to this problem, first is relocate people, give them palliative measure, let them have assurance that government will stand by them so that they can start their life again. Now, serious planning. In fact, if it's going to take the Senate Committee on Environment and House Committee and House Committee on Environment to call back and ask Ministry of Environment to go back to drawing board to come up with 5-year strategic plan and serious budget for it. And they want to see the kind of flood management or flood control measure they want to take for all those focus states that are worstly hit with this disaster, and put it in 20, because they've sent 2013 budget, and I'm not sure they have facility for this one.
So there should be supplementary. They should be thinking about it.
They should be thinking about either amending the budget or add it to the budget.